shall we have a little chat about a leaky gut? So most people I think of in my little digestive system world have heard about a leaky gut. If you speak about it to others, maybe even some medical professionals, they might roll their eyes. It is totally a thing. If you want to use the scientific name, you can say intestinal permeability. So our whole digestive system is like lined with a mucous membrane. It's just different functions, different thickness, different structures. So if you think about our digestive system, it starts at our mouth, comes out the other end, and we are putting so much stuff in there. So we're putting the outside world on the inside of our bodies. And there's a very delicate balance that needs to be maintained within our bodies. So we want a lot of the stuff to actually pass through and come out the other side. The only things that we want to be absorbed through that membrane is things that we use for energy, like our nutrition. So vitamins, minerals, amino acids, these sorts of things. And then it creates that barrier to make sure that yeasts and parasites and inflammatory things don't get through. So with leaky gut or intestinal permeability, it's become leaky. So what should happen, we have these things called the tight junctions, and they fit together like teeth. And there's certain things that can cause these teeth to separate, which then makes it leaky. So the gaps become bigger, so bigger particles of things can get into our bloodstream that ideally we don't want to be happening. So say like whole proteins instead of amino acids. So this can be a problem because if certain things get into the bloodstream, then it can really mess around with our immune system. So the immune system is our defense mechanism. So if things get in there that aren't meant to, it can send the immune system into overdrive. I see a very big connection with things like histamine intolerance and leaky gut. And other symptoms that you might feel if you've got leaky gut, and probably most of my clients that come to see me have some degree of leaky gut. It just depends how leaky. So if you have leaky gut or intestinal permeability, you might feel histamine intolerance, which can feel like itchy skin, it can feel like headaches, it can feel like heart palpitations after eating high histamine foods. With leaky gut, especially if you've got inflammation in the digestive system, which again is very common with my clients, if there's inflammation in the digestive system, particularly these things called endotoxins, which are lipopolysaccharides, if they get through the leaky gut into the bloodstream and then cross the blood-brain barrier as well, this can cause inflammation in the brain, which feels like feelings of depression and anxiety. Such a big connection. Also with leaky gut, you might notice that after eating your meals you become puffy, so you might be holding on to extra water. When leaky gut is healing and feels healed, it's the sensation of when you eat your food that it doesn't really affect the rest of your body. So you don't notice the tired after eating, you don't notice the puffiness, everything stays inside where it should, like you feel more solid. It's pretty cool. Things that can cause the gut to become leaky, number one is stress. I talk about stress a lot. I feel like it just doesn't get enough credit for the damage that it can do to our bodies, especially long term. Short-term stress is good, long-term stress, can be good. So cortisol, which is one of our stress hormones, is one of the things that causes these tight junctions to separate. Another thing is gluten. So every single person that eats gluten will end up with leaky gut. It just depends for how long. So gluten is a protein that is found in a lot of our grains, like rye and wheat and things like that. In the gluten, there's an enzyme called gliadin. Gliadin starts the cascade of events that causes these tight junctions to separate. Leaky gut. Food intolerances, so if you are consistently eating foods that your body's not agreeing with, they can also cause the stress and the inflammation and causing the leaky gut as well. So yeah, totally a thing. Chances are, if you have SIBO, if you've got other digestive issues, if you've been stressed for some time, if you've been eating gluten for some time, chances are there's some leaky gut. Just depends how leaky.